The number of net, not in education, employment or training people, is increasing. And to make things worse, there was a time when a university degree assured you a good job, a good pay, and a comfortable life. Not anymore. Young Europeans have more and more difficulty finding a permanent job. According to The Guardian, the number of young people out of work globally is nearly as big as the population of the United States. 42% among Italian young people take part in the generation jobless. Well, being the four words very captivating, we can now start a debate with Roberta.
Do not discourage yourself. Young people study for several years in order to have a better future, so we can't blame them for that. I'm afraid to say once again that being graduated from universities and with high marks is not enough to ensure you a rapid employment. The reality is that today's 20-something are entering an economy where globalization and technology are transforming the workplace. Even though young generation seems to have more opportunities than in the past, the problem is only going to get worse, because for the first time in history, you are having another unique challenge. That you are transforming, that you are competing with your parents' generation.
I'm sorry, Roberta, I have to interrupt you. What do you mean by saying that there is a competition between youth and parents' generation?
Well, the competition between young people and older people means that boomers are delaying their retirement due to some government's reform.
Right, your point was that the degree is nearly going to become worthless, isn't it? But what is the evidence to support this?
Well, Alessia, according to McKinsey research, there is a mismatch between education and its labor market.
But why do we have to trust him? What kind of competence does he have?
You're confusing yourself. We are not talking about a person. McKinsey and Company is an American global management consulting firm which conducted a research called Education to Employment, designing a system that works. This report attempted to focus to the structural problem that had led to youth unemployment. And this problem is related to the fact that young people can't find a job, and yet employers can find people with the right entry-level skills.
Okay, Julia, but would you please explain me how technology and globalization are transforming the workplace?
Yes, Marta, the reason is that nowadays more and more machineries are substituting labor.
Okay, thanks. I understand your point, but now let me explain my thought. Jobless is a pressing problem. Nevertheless, unemployment has always been here. But in the past, people often moved to find a job. Today, instead, a record number of young people remains at home with their parents. But what are they really doing to improve this situation? They say there are no possibilities, no jobs, and they have no importance within society. Obviously, they cannot stay at home until they are 40 only because they do not want to pay bills and rent. In fact, the entire country is trying to solve their problem and giving them too much. So what young people need is a bit of humility. What are they waiting for?
In addition, what we would like to stress, as we consider it as one of our main points, is that there are opportunities, they exist and they are available at any time. But it's young responsibility only to wake up and to acquire better knowledge about the world surrounding them. Just to give you an example, European funding grants have the purpose of promoting the cooperation among encouraging the cooperation among young people in Europe by providing financial support. But how many are the persons who are aware of this opportunity? You're right, Maria, but I think that firstly, although the government sometimes proposes a good solution, most of the time the government itself has caused a lot of problems. Second, I think that young people are not able to find these initiatives because they are hidden among other types of information. Consequently, understanding what is important and useful became harder, and all of these inputs confuse them and proper direction go missing.
I see your point, but taking everything into consideration, in our opinion, the real problem is that information should be one of the main interests of young people, but everything they want is just to have fun. So, for example, they are not willing to sacrifice their summer holiday. On the other hand, there are also a set of people who prefer work only in the summer season, so that they are not disposed to work all year long.
Well, Alessia, I agree, but what should be stressed is the fact that during the rest of the year, the majority of young people are students, so they would attending universities and high schools, so they cannot ignore their studies. On the other hand, for what concerns our young people who are not studying, the seasonal works do not ask for any particular kind of reference, as companies do.
Well, we came across various arguments, and even though they were more or less valid, we have not been able to reach an agreement. Well, briefly allow me to recap. Youth unemployment crisis is an international issue, and those in favor of young people claim that employers should realize that training and hiring a person is a smart decision, even though it does not pay off straight away.
Opponents, instead, are strongly convinced that the young generation must stop inventing excuses and start finding solutions, such as starting from having a good knowledge of what surrounds you, since nowadays there is a high demand for multitasking and versatility. This is because when you do not have means, you are supposed to find them.
Well, we very thank you for your kind attention. We hope you enjoyed our debate, and there will be another occasion. Thank you once again.